Hey everybody, it's NeoPrepper. I know I haven't put a video up in a long time, but things changed for me. I've moved, I've done all kinds of stuff, and but I wanted to show you what my garden looks like this year. My girlfriend and I, who I moved in with, we decided we'd put these up actually last fall, and raised garden beds, and they did okay last year. And don't tell her, but she planted them without me, and they didn't come up quite as good as they should have. Nah, I'm just teasing. They didn't come up very well because we just didn't get them right. But anyway, so this year we've redone them. Of course, they have more organic matter in them. They are full of now worms, right? Composting worms. Remember the old worm farm? Yeah. I've changed my strategies on this. So what we have here is beans, right? And I've got to thin some of these out. Over here, I still have spinach that's coming up, and we're hoping to get, I don't know, a little bit of spinach out of it. It's the baby spinach type stuff. I put some corn in. I don't know how well it'll do. There's 8 stalks of corn there. And then here is actually broccoli. Again, not sure how well that'll work. It's going to be too hot for it, I think. But my girlfriend wanted it, so we're doing it. And of course, I love broccoli. This is 3 rows of carrots. And they're doing really well. We just planted this like 2 weeks ago from seed, all this. These we actually bought as just, I don't know, 6-inch tall little plants. The beans are from seeds, the spinach all from seeds. Over here we have 3 bell peppers, because I love them. And here we have a better boy bush, or something like better bush tomato. This is one of my all-time favorites, which is the beefsteak tomato. And you can just see how well they're doing this year. As opposed to last year, I was actually able to find the calcium that I needed. I just went with a lime, a pelletized lime, from a garden shop. I couldn't find the dolomitic clay, which is basically the same thing. And here we have 4 yellow squash, the crookneck squash. And that over there in one of my old planters, right, the earth box type, is a cantaloupe. And again, that one we bought. These were all, you know, small plants when we bought them. Same thing with the tomatoes and the bell peppers. And then I hate to even show you this, that's last year's project. I haven't even torn them apart, but eventually I will. But you can still see some of the remains of the old tomato plants. So what I did in this one, though, like I said, I went and bought a bunch of the composting worms, but I bought what's called a garden mix, which has African night crawlers in it, as well as the red wigglers, and I think they're called red hybrids or something like that. But for Florida, they are the warm tolerant species, and the African night crawler is amazing. They are 4 to 6 inches long, up to 8 to 10 inches long. And if you've ever heard of an Alabama jumper, they're kind of like that, man. And you grab them, put them in your hand, they will just jump out of your hand. I can't even imagine what they'd be like on a fish hook. The fish would probably just love them. Now, the other thing that I've done, because I really believe that the worm compost, and I know that it is. Okay, so I don't remember what I was saying. My beautiful girlfriend came out and started talking to me about something. But and then I had to show her the garden because she hasn't seen it in 3 or 4 days. And she was pretty impressed. She's like, oh my God, it's so much greener and bigger than last year. So one of the things that I read last night, I hadn't really thought about this. All the soil in here, when she built these, was all the Miracle-Gro, you know, topsoil or whatever it is. It's not potting soil. But anyway, the good stuff, you know. And you know, the stuff just didn't grow that well last year. It grew okay, just not as much as I expected it to do, being in the quote-unquote Miracle-Gro. But then I read this. All that stuff that's been sitting in pallets and plastic bags for months, perhaps, has been sitting out in the sun and is completely baked. And for the most part, a lot of the microbes are dead, all the microorganisms. So again, you're kind of buying dead soil. I think that's one of the reasons that this is doing so well this year, is because it's had worms in it. It's had a garden planted in it, so it has roots and other stuff that were left in there that have rotted. And it's had time to become very, very, very healthy soil, fertile soil. And what the straw is for, aside from the worms like to eat it eventually, and it makes good compost eventually, when I finish this garden, I'll turn it under. But it actually helps hold moisture in. And so here in Florida, you know, I mean, we're watering this thing pretty much every day because it drains out so fast because of the sand. But the straw is actually helping keep a lot of the moisture in. And so I'm probably going to be able to cut back my watering, which is wonderful. Anyway, so that is my garden. I just thought you guys would like to see that. And of course, the next thing to work on is the yard. Which I'm going to show you what I'm doing for that here in just a second, or at least part of what I'm going to do for that. And by the way, Freedom, this is for you. If you really want to keep the varmints out of your stuff, get one of those. Yeah, the junk pile over here. See the little Jack Russell? That's Pepsi. Pepsi is a nut, and she has killed, let's see, 3 black racers in the last 3 or 4 weeks. She chases the squirrels out. She digs for moles. I don't know if she's actually gotten any of those. But anyway, it's pretty fun to watch her. She is just, watching her attack a snake was amazing. But anyway, Freedom, man, I loved your garden. Anyway, let me show you. Alright, so here we are at the compost bin. I bought this over at Lowe's the other day for, I think it was about 45 bucks. It's about 3 foot by 3 foot by 3 foot, give or take, right? Very, very easy to put together. It snaps together. The lid, just push that and pops up. And that is what's inside of it, right? I've got it about, I don't know, a third of the way full of vegetable matter that actually came out of the old garden from last year. I saved it. And a bunch of straw that I bought the other day, actual wheat straw, and some other stuff, coffee grounds and tea bags and what have you that are in there. And then I dumped about, I think I've got about 1.25 pounds of that garden variety of the red wigglers, the African night crawlers, and the, I think they're called hybrid red worms or something like that. Anyway, they tend to compost at 3 different levels. So the red wigglers tend to be on top and eating stuff. And then in the middle tends to be those hybrid red worms, and down at the bottom, because they like to go deep, are the African night crawlers. And I'm not so sure that that's true, because I keep finding the night crawlers on top at night, you know. They come up and eat. And but anyway, they're just voracious. And I know each of them has like a different thing, but the African night crawler, from what I understand, will break down larger, more coarse stuff, like you know, heavier cardboards and things like that. But there's newspaper in here, there's paper in here, there's all kinds of stuff in here that's all compostable. So what I'm going to do with this is, and I don't know how long it's going to take, I'm probably going to have to make another one, maybe a couple more of these, because I want to make a ton of compost to start putting down on the yard. Remember I said this is the next project? Well, the yard is, you know, horrible. And in Florida here, it's all sand, and so unless you have a lot of topsoil to put down, this is what you're going to get. It doesn't mean that you can't make it look better, it's just never going to be perfect. And you know, last night we got a ton of rain, so it actually looks a lot better even today. But just like Freedom said, this is what you get. Even when you put a bunch of topsoil down, you're going to find problems with, you know, the topsoil is eventually going to, I guess I'll call it erode. It's going to basically bury itself in the sand. It kind of sifts its way in, and pretty soon you got sand again. So unless it's like a like sod, but sod, again, if you let that go and let the grass die, it'll turn into sand too. So same idea. The roots hold it all together. So anyway, so that's what I'm going to do here. And in order to speed up this process, because it's going to take a long time, but I'm only going to try and rebuild part of this lawn at a time because it's just easier. And I've got another one of the raised garden beds, like these guys over here again, right? I'm going to put another one probably right here. I'd like to get another one put right there, so I have 4 of them going. What I'm going to do with those, to start them, I'm actually going to make them a compost bin. Put all the stuff in there, put the worms in there, and then cover it like a tarp or burlap or something like that. Probably burlap, because I can water right through it. But again, just depends on how much it costs. I'm going to keep it cheap. One of the things that I don't think anybody's mentioned, I'm sure somebody has, when you have moles, and we have moles in Florida, right? One of the things you want to use underneath of these is hardware fabric or mesh or whatever they call it. Anyway, it's like a, you know, 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch mesh metal screening, and so you put it underneath these so that the moles can't get up inside of there, and of course they'll eat all your worms too, but they just do a lot of damage. So anyway, we put that mesh down underneath those, and I put it underneath that composter too. The idea with that composter versus the buckets and the worm farm and all that sort of stuff, because I was actually going to go buy an actual worm farm this time, and the lady on the phone who sells me the worms, she asked me, she goes, why? Well, coming from somebody who actually sells the worm farms, it kind of surprised me to hear why. And she said what I should do, and you guys can do this too, because I just did it on the cheap here. All you really need is about 10 to 12 inches of wood, like a I don't know, a 2 by 12 or something like that, and fill it with stuff, right? Things that you want composted. Let it start working, and put your worms in there and make it, I don't know, 3 foot by 3 foot or 4 foot by 8 foot. It doesn't matter. The idea here, the reason it's on the ground, is because in Florida, of course, it gets real hot. Worms don't like it real hot. So when it's cool, the worms will work their way up. When it's hot, they'll work their way down. They can even go into the soil underneath. Because the food sources here, they're not going to go very far. And even if they do, you're not going to lose that many. You're still going to have just a ridiculous amount of reproduction in here. But also for the moisture too. If it gets too dry up here, they'll go down. If it gets too, you know, too wet, they'll come up. You know, so they get to kind of make themselves happy, as she said. And if the worms are happy, of course they reproduce like crazy. They eat like crazy. They compost like crazy, and you don't lose them. And eventually you can give some worms to your friends, so, or sell them. To be honest with you, there's quite a market, I guess, for selling worms. So, but anyway, I just wanted to share my gardening so far this year with you. I got a little bit of a late start, but they're looking really good. And I guess that's it. Sorry it's been so long since I've seen you. NeoPrepper out. God bless.